Hey guys, midweek energy update as we continue to move through this period of time that is generally just representing some sustained intensity. We have had Mars and Pluto in an opposition exactly at 29 degrees of Cancer and Capricorn for the past several days. This aspect is still highlighted this week. This aspect is going to pit powerful forces up against one another, vying for dominance, vying for control, things coming to a head, and power struggles underway as a result. Now, we're still moving through this energy this week. We do have, I would say, fewer transits going on this week, but if you watched my last video, I was talking about how we're sort of like in the eye of the storm right now, and though we don't have tons happening this week, what is happening is very powerful, very intense, very significant, and very fundamentally transformative. In terms of aspects hitting at the midpoint of our week this week, there could be some faded communication or interaction or meeting that goes on somehow. We have a Mercury, the messenger planet, North Node, the destiny point, trine going on. Trines facilitate things. It's universe supporting things to happen. So this energy could really be bringing some divine alignment in terms of like people, places, and situations, meetings. So be on the lookout for that. We also have a Moon Pluto conjunction in the sign of Capricorn at 29 degrees of Capricorn that is coming in on Thursday this week. This is the last time that the moon and Pluto will be together in the sign of Capricorn until like the 2260s. So we're talking about like 250 years. This is the last time this is going to happen, you guys. It's happening this week on Thursday. This is the final like emotional trigger associated with the Capricorn Pluto transit that is on its way out right now. So there could just be some like powerful stuff that is hitting at the midpoint of our week this week. Really profound release point, like I said, going on. This is the activated Great Awakening energy that we're moving through. So we've got, of course, a lot to talk about. We have Mercury prominent today in Sagittarius. There's also mutual receptions going on that I am looking forward to talking to you guys about today. We've got two of them. Let's just get into it, you guys. Let's get into the report, talk about all this, how everything's coming together as we do move through this very powerful energy week and what perhaps we can expect as we head towards the weekend. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Wednesday, November 6th, 2024. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day where we are narrating the shift of the ages. And if you guys stick with me until the end of this report, I've done a collective tarot reading for us today as well. I like to tap the energy field from more than one modality when I'm doing these energy overviews, just to get an alternative energetic perspective on what's going on out there. So there could be some messages in there for you. We're going to do that at the end. Let's start with the astrology. If you guys caught my first video that I put out this week on Monday about what we had going on Monday and sort of like the overall tone of the week, I was saying how this week actually it's not the overall most busy week in terms of a ton of transits happening. We've had so much energetic activity going on lately. It's been like back to back to back, big transits for I feel like a couple of months now. And this week, actually, there's not a whole bunch of stuff happening, but we are in this period, like I said in my intro, of just this sustained intensity. It's like when you think about sound waves, you know, that like reverberate out. I feel like these are like big, slow, deep ones that are just like going on and on and on and on. The Mars-Pluto opposition that has been like creating these subtle waves that are actually going to turn into things that like shift the entire ground that we're standing on and really alter the foundational reality moving forward. This Mars-Pluto dynamic has been what energetically I feel like has been contributing to that. And it does make me feel, you know, it was a 4-day sustained exact activation. Mars generally only takes 2 days to transit a degree, but Mars is beginning to slow down right now because he's going to go retrograde in a few weeks. I can't remember exactly when it is. It's not like right around the corner, but it's coming up here. And his motion is beginning to slow down in the sky. And as a result of that, he happened to be at 29 degrees of Cancer in that exact opposition for a period of time that encompassed a span of 4 days. From November 1st through November 4th, we had that exact alignment happening. Of course, 29 degrees is the critical degree of a sign. Of course, Pluto at 29 degrees right now is just ticking through the last couple of degree minutes of the sign of Capricorn, preparing to end that generational transit and begin a new generational transit of Pluto through the sign of Aquarius for the next 20 years. Again, this is bringing up like a special energetic relevance in terms of culminating a significant period of time this week, Thursday, and we'll talk about it. I don't really want to do things too out of order, but Thursday is a real powerful day. You may find yourself dealing with, facing, experiencing, or coming up against in someone else just some like extreme, like profound emotions, emotional responses, emotional releases, like emotions being triggered maybe from a really deep level. Like this is stuff perhaps that's been lingering, building, going on, being held within over the course of at least the last 16 years, maybe, you know, if you haven't been alive long enough for that have been the case, then it could just be things that you've been struggling with maybe throughout the course of your life. But this period of time between 2008 and 2004 is very significant in terms of what is like on the chopping block right now, what is at its final point of culmination and release. Figure out where you have 29 degrees of Capricorn, specifically also, you know, the polarity Capricorn Cancer. Very important axis right now in the context of these two planetary bodies, you know, facing off, and the force of contention, but also ultimately the ability to overcome and become self-empowered as a result of that. Wherever you have 29 degrees of Capricorn in your chart, especially when the moon comes through on Thursday, like that is where you're experiencing a point of karmic release right now, or that is where you are being released from maybe some of these things or lessons that you've been working through since maybe around 2008. Themes, situations, circumstances, dynamics that have been in play, that have been prominent, that have been highlighted, that have been dominant since the year of 2008 are going to probably be pretty relevant. The past could be really relevant. We're talking about Pluto, the moon in the sign of Capricorn, Capricorn ruled by Saturn. Saturn's about the past, Saturn's about karma. This is some type of karmic release. So figure out what house you have 29 degrees of Capricorn. On Thursday, you may just notice that area of your life being triggered somehow in a way that you're finally ready to be at the end of something somehow, or it just becomes clear to you that something has come to its end somehow. So we have that, okay? So that is what we are working towards, moving through as we move through the midpoint of our week and head towards Thursday. Wednesday, though, we've got another interesting dynamic coming in. That is Mercury, the messenger planet, in an exact trine to the north node, therefore also a sextile to the south node. Some type of fated new beginning, new alignment, new connection could be coming in, or just a missing piece of information, finding something, learning something, discovering something that is eye-opening and that helps us actually in that process of letting go of whatever from the past, whatever old skin we need to shed right now to align ourselves with, you know, for every loss, there's always a gain. So whatever we're being released from right now, whatever we're having to let go of right now, it's actually so that we can step into something more. And when I say more, I mean something that is more aligned, something that is more fulfilling, something that is more abundant, something that is more authentic or genuine, or just like in like purposeful or productive, you know what I mean? It's actually, you know, we're talking about, if you guys have been following along with my work, I've been talking about how we're really in a Scorpio season like no other right now. Scorpio is an energy. It's the Phoenix rising energy. It is about the destructive phase of something, but also on the other end of that, something that is emerging, something that is being born, or that is being reborn, or that is evolving, or that is upgrading. So, and you know, the North Node's transit through the sign of Aries, which we're talking about right now in the context of the trine to Mercury, that is also talking about an evolution and an upgrade and like a fated climb somehow in some direction. right now. And Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars is in the opposition to Pluto. We are overcoming forces that have diminished a dimension of ourselves that universe is calling forth to like seek expression right now. So any way that you want to apply that internally, externally, you know, there's a very strong aptitude for us right now also to like reprogram our subconscious mind in a way that is more productive or more conducive to our growth, to our success, or to what we want to consciously build, grow, and create in the reality. This is the, you know, the keywords, the buzzwords, the phrase, the meme, whatever you want to refer to it as, like the Great Awakening that has been spoken of for several years, a long kind of time now. That is also what this is, where we're at, and what the outcome of what the Scorpio season right now, leading to Pluto's entrance into the sign of Aquarius coming up here mid-November or so, and the energy that carries us forward into 2025 and beyond is indicating and bringing to our experience here in this 3D reality. So we have a one-way ticket, you guys, to enhanced level of conscious awareness that opens our eyes to something deeper, something more real, or just something truly worth striving for. And a lot of people are going to be changing a lot about their lives and a lot about their lifestyles going forward as a result of that. So, and also on these obviously like on the greater world stage, on the macrocosm level, we're going through major shifts in power dynamics and those regards as well, which are also providing both a breakdown in authority on one hand and also kind of like a wild west of this whole new terrain that we're about to be moving through, and some very novel experiences. Hyper novelty is the buzzword out there that is kind of coming up next for us. So the transition from the old age to sort of like this new paradigm that is coming in right now, but it's really based on an understanding, and everything that the Scorpio season is bringing to us, what we're seeing like underneath the surface, behind the curtain, under the hood, the gears in the machine, figuring things out, as I've been saying and going on and on about, this is like the utmost in X-ray vision, detective energy, research, problem solve, digging for truths. Like what you find is going to likely be groundbreaking, and it's going to be the real deal. Okay, so if you are so inclined to go down rabbit holes, this is energy that is actually favorable and supportive for that type of thing, especially in the context of like unfolding destiny or aligning us with where we need to be, or shifting our mind in a way that helps us like reconfigure our path going forward so that we can align with something more meant for us, or, you know, who we're truly meant to be. So pay attention, you guys. Also, there's a very psychic energy, if nothing else, with the moon and Pluto together that enhances intuition and psychic tendencies. So, and with the Mercury North Node trine as well that's also happening, there could just be some like epiphanies or just some profound like spiritual experiences or like intuitive hunches or something that are guiding us to where we need to be. So pay attention to that type of thing as well. But the emotional intensity overall and the emotional tension of the times is probably something unrivaled. It shouldn't be underestimated. And it's probably bringing up things from the past. Again, specifically this past 16 years, or it also could be, there's a strong prominent Mercury influence today, again, in the trine to the North Node, so it could be coming through on our mind as well, alongside perhaps this sense of synchronicity or coincidence or just divine timing, divine alignment that the Mercury North Node trine may be indicating, may be bringing. Now, there's also, as I mentioned in my intro as well, there are two different mutual receptions that are in place right now, which I feel like are very productive mutual receptions in the context of the kind of like overall energetic theme right now of transitioning us from a state and an era of centralized control and power and dominance, Pluto in Capricorn, to a state and age of decentralized power and control with Pluto moving into the sign of Aquarius. That's the power struggle, that's the power differential, that's like the forces of the past and the future right now. The past is being represented by this centralized power and control situation, and this future energy that's coming in, this age of Aquarius energy that's coming in, is really requiring vibration that's associated with and that's supportive of decentralized power and control models, meaning we're heading to an age, as I continue to say, of the reason why, you know, we're all sort of being activated right now is because this age requires self-actualization on the part of the humans who are energetically anchoring it to our paradigm right now. And because we're the ones that happen to be here at this specific point in time, when these specific light codes, this specific page of like the ever unfolding cosmic story or cosmic blueprint or God's plan or however you want to refer to it, like this is what happens to be happening right now. Like we just happen to be coinciding with this particular moment when this, you know, we're like going up this rung or like at this portion of the energetic evolution consciousness spiral that's playing out. We're transitioning from a darker age back into a lighter age by way of this age of Aquarius that is an age of self-knowledge and self-actualization. And as a result of that being this greater energetic pull over the course of this next 2,000 years, universe is starting now to kind of Uranus in the sign of Taurus ruling this Aquarian energy coming in, like bring the wrecking ball to any of the foundations, anything that has stabilized, anything that's been the comfort zone, that has been preventing, blocking, or just like keeping us detached from this more authentic version of purpose and potential, which is what we're awakening to now, which is where we're all being rerouted now, whether it's something that we're choosing consciously to do or whether it's something we're literally just being like picked and plucked out of our lives and just dropped in a totally random place we never would have expected or anticipated or maybe even chose for ourselves. But like come down the line, once the future gets to prove the past, we will come to see that it is exactly what needed to happen. It was exactly where we needed to be. And if that hadn't happened, we wouldn't have unfolded on this whole new dimension of our lives that we never could have anticipated or imagined or thought possible for ourselves. We are moving into like an aspect of this energy is going to be these like perceived sort of like miracle type of situations that happen more and more, and just like the unimaginable, but like to the higher octave of things, like on the better end of things taking place. And you know, what we thought was the worst thing ever coming to find actually was, again, like exactly what needed to happen so that this much better thing could somehow make its way into our existence, even if it needed to be through this like very difficult lesson that we had to go through to get there. This is also a period of time where we are in like a very significant crash course in terms of how powerful our minds are and the strength of like our mental frames and our mental perceptions. That's something we're going to be talking about a lot more on this channel as we move into the Pluto Aquarius energy, because I mean, Pluto is also the subconscious mind, and it's also like very deep and psychological, and Aquarius is about authentic truth and knowledge and awakening. There's going to be an awakening to the power of the subconscious mind, subconscious programming, how powerful the mind truly is in the creation of our experiences. And also along those same lines, therefore, how susceptible we really are to being controlled externally when we are unaware of that. So I actually think that this next 20 years that is kicking itself off here around November 18th when Pluto re-enters the sign of Aquarius, to me that Pluto Aquarius transit is going to function a lot like a great reveal. We are going to come to re-understand and sort of recontextualize and redefine a lot of our previous beliefs and understandings, essentially like across the board as we move through this period of time. And it is going to be quite illuminating. I think that we can bet on that. Anyways, along those lines, let's talk about some of this mutual reception energy that we have going on and how it kind of plays into our overall story that's unfolding right now. First of all, which I talked about in my last video, the sun is currently in the sign of Scorpio right now. We have Mars just entered the sign of Leo. Leo ruled by the sun, Scorpio ruled by Mars. So the sun is in the sign of Mars. Mars is in the sign of the sun. This is really blending both the solar and the Martian energy. And of course, to me, I feel like this is kind of superpowering this already like warrior spirit, like divine masculine warrior spirit type of energy that has been present with Mars in the last degree of the sign of Cancer. Even though Mars doesn't love being in Cancer, doesn't necessarily give great results in Cancer when we're looking at it from, you know, a genuine astrology perspective, from the symbolic perspective and the fact that Cancer rules the home, the homeland, the family, the community, the public, and the people. Also, of course, like children and the mother. Mars there being the force that resonates to like the warrior spirit. This is like a very protective, defensive, like masculine energy of the light, okay, with the Leo situation that we have going on right now as well, and for the people. So I feel like personally, with the sun also in the sign of Scorpio, that is shining light into the underworld, that is illuminating the darkness, that is, you know, seeing what's been hidden in the shadows, and that really motivating. Mars in the sign of Leo, this is also like fiercely loyal, okay? There's a lot of pride that has to go along with it, but it's generally, you know, to protect and defend that which we love, that which is where our loyalties lie. You know, it's the roaring of the lion when we've got Mars there, especially at these like early 0 degrees and in the opposition to Pluto. So there's a very strong, powerful, dynamic, like light-based, solar-based masculine energy that is, from the way I'm perceiving this right now, you know, symbolically, and again, in terms of like the actual ways that energy patterns are functioning right now as well, like the story that is being told is of the battle between essentially like the archetypal hero and the archetypal like sinister force that would seek to prohibit like the thriving vitality of the greater population. So a tale as old as time, you guys. It really is, you know, that epic battle between dark and light, or however you want to phrase it or frame it. I talked about that in my last video as well. It's not necessarily just good and bad. There have been lessons that have been required of us as we've been moving through this period of time that we're being released from now. Hopefully by this point, we have energetically reached a level where we are no longer needing to, you know, go through those same experiences, and can therefore evolve out of the patterns associated with the karma of the past experiences, karmic release, and also this rebirth into this redefined version of self, or whatever we're becoming next, or whatever we're building or growing, birthing, creating, which this is a very, very good time. I will say there's a potent creative energy, very good manifestation energy right now, even though it may be kind of difficult to really like get things underway in terms of physically making them happen in the real world, because this is more, I would say, of a physically destructive energy than it is about supporting physical stability and growth. Like conceptualizing, making goals, strategizing, like the plans that we're laying now, the plans that are being hatched for what we're going to do going forward, especially if they're creative, especially if they're like, there's a level of like ingenuity ingenuity there, especially if we're passionate about it and they're aligned with something that feels like authentic and real and true to us. Like this is coming from a drive that's not money. Like we're not doing this because it's going to fill our wallet the fastest. Like we're doing this because it's something we're genuinely interested in, we're passionate about, we feel called to do. It's like this inner calling. That is the type of stuff that is going to be energetically supported going forward. There's going to be, I'm about to go off on a little tangent again right now because it's just the way things are going. There's going to be, as we go through this period of time as well, people are going to stop like picking careers and professions and jobs and like doing what they feel like is just going to make them the most money and be like the most like financially securing situation, because for whatever reason those situations are going to stop working out as well as they used to, especially in this past 16 years. Like that is what has won the trophy. Like following the rules, following the hierarchy, doing the protocol, getting in line, waiting your turn, you know, doing the whole like 9 to 5 and working your way up. Like just making sure that you are like following the social graces and not rocking the boat and not stepping out of line and just like being in the mold. That actually over this past, especially like I said, this past 16 years with Pluto and Capricorn, that is what has taken home the gold. Like that really was what was energetically supported for success. This hierarchical process, following the leader, okay, like that is what was rewarded. But this energy, and you know, it's also, there's going to be an adjustment period too. Like things are probably going to get kind of shaky as we enter this period of time right now, and we are exiting actually not only that Capricornian generation but also the greater age of Pisces as well. Saturn ruling the sign of Capricorn right now, retrograding through the sign of Pisces. This is the, it's not just the past 16 years that is coming to an end. It's just that this past 16 years was, it's sort of like it's ushering in the end of the overall greater last 2,000 year period of time, because the past 16 years was actually, I think, energetically a very condensed expression of the greater 2,000 year cycle that we're actually coming out of now. And we, I think, had to face a lot of harsher karmic lessons and things during that period of time to grow and learn to come to the point where we're at now, so that we're ready for this next sort of like massive step that is carrying us into what really will redefine things for us moving forward. So anyways, coming back now, Mars and the Sun in mutual reception, that is this blending of this solar masculine energy that is uncovering secrets and fighting for the light and our loyalties. This could also, Mars in the sign of Leo right now, bring a lot of infighting and also this mutual reception among like elite groups and elite circles and like kings and rulers and dynasties and legacies. With Mars transiting through the sign of Leo, Mars is this conflict oriented energy. Leo is the sign that does rule dynasties of power. So there could sort of be implosions going on in that regard while we've got this playing out as well, especially with the Mars-Pluto opposition, and especially even more so once Pluto enters the sign of Aquarius. That's going to decentralize the power with Mars still in the sign of Leo. We could really see some breakdowns and like long-standing legacies of rulership, and again like these like dynasty bloodline situations going on. The bloodline, the mutual reception, yeah, we got stuff like that that is coming up and that is being indicated here as well. But the other mutual reception that we have going on right now, which is an energy that I personally really find favorable, is that we had Mercury also recently enter Sagittarius. Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter, of course, is currently retrograding and transiting through the sign of Gemini right now. So we have Mercury, Jupiter, Gemini, Sag mutual reception to go along with our already very powerful and revealing Sun, Mars, Scorpio, Leo mutual reception. Jupiter is expansion. Mercury is the mind. This energy is expanding our mind. It's showing us the truth. It is expanding there is a vast ability. Take advantage of this Mercury, Jupiter, Gemini, Sag mutual reception. This is like a vast ability to like learn new skills, gain new talents, be like a jack of all trades. Like this energy is very, very adept at doing everything, learning everything, knowing a lot. This is an excellent period of time to harness that, to teach yourself a new skill. But it's got to be something that you're interested in, maybe something that you've always wanted to learn, or something new that you're just finding out about right now that you feel like compelled towards. But if this energy, it's a very, obviously, we've talked about it being a very potent, powerful, emotional energy that can really have a lot of people spiraling out of control, fits of rage, losing their temper in some big ways, just totally lacking emotional control. That's really another dynamic of things right now. But if we can channel our energy by way of these mutual receptions and really learn something new, like I said, or get some hard work done, focus on something, just really dive into something, learning something, researching something, like reprogramming something, building something, like, or planning, strategizing, creating a vision, you know what I mean? Like things along those lines that are in alignment or resonate with the future and where we want to go and like what we want to grow into right now. That's a very productive way to use this energy, instead of just trying to, or just like letting it build up within you and not like knowing what to do with it, and then having it explode or just spin out, or whatever. Because again, a lot of people are going to be doing that. They're not going to know how to handle or deal with this energy, and it's going to be dealing with them instead. So we don't want to get on that end of it. But these two mutual receptions functioning together, like this is a rare, kind of like a rare occurrence that we would have this playing out like this, and it is working to bring knowledge, freedom, and truth. The babies that are being born right now, I bet you, like, we are getting a pack of superheroes. This, to me, it's like a superhero archetype energy with the sun in Scorpio and Mars in Leo, this like dynamic, charismatic, powerful force of like solar force of light that like fights like tooth and nail for the thriving of the greater good, to like allow things to grow according to their like true how they're supposed to be, for life, essentially, is really what I'm trying to say. And then the freedom and truth dynamic, and this brilliant mind with the Mercury Gemini situation going on. And then simultaneously though, we've got Mars and Pluto in opposition, these forces fighting off, we could look at them as like good and evil. So there is this kind of like hero or like superhero type of archetype that's going on out there. I'm telling you, these kids with these natal charts are going to be light workers, truth tellers, or demon slayers. One of those three, they're probably going to have a streak that runs through them, all of them that are born during this period of time, for better or worse, okay? You just can't hide anything. Nothing can be hidden right now. The mission of this energy is to uncover and destroy forces that would seek to prevent cosmic alignment, conscious awareness, soul growth, and this evolution or transcendence into this new age that is cosmically ordained right now. So to me, that does bring forth this superhero archetype frequency that is being disseminated and discharged kind of en masse right now. And we have the ability also to channel that energy and really become sort of like the superhero in our own story at this point in time. Like, we are here to save the day in some way or another. And you could be feeling charged up. Like the Mars Pluto opposition, like it does bring energy. There are high levels of energy right now, and you may just feel some type of internalized gusto or something to take charge. Like this sense of self-empowerment is trying to come back online, and universe is trying to help us prove to ourselves, really as a facet of that learning curve, how capable we really are when we are using our mind properly and doing things right. So it's Batman, you guys. It's Tony Stark. It's Spidey, or the classic, just like good guy superhero. We're all them right now. And it also is in alignment with the North Node's transit through the sign of Aries right now. That's also us stepping into our personal power and our own personal leadership era. This North Node transit is actually preparing to wrap itself up. So we are culminating that process coming up pretty soon here as well. Um, so powerful forces of good, I feel like, are at play out there. Brilliance, skill, strength, power, charisma, and big picture thinking definitely like functioning in that capacity as well. And we have the tools right now. Universe guides and provides and guides. We have the tools to save ourselves or change our lives for the better, and we are going to just be inherently stepping into that and doing that for ourselves going forward. Again, these faded meetings and messages might be included in some dimension of this type of vibe that's coming through as we move through our week this week. We do still have the Sun Saturn trine as well that's going on. I talked about this a bit in the last video. The Sun in the sign of Scorpio right now, who is in that mutual reception with Mars, is also trining Saturn, who's retrograding through Pisces. Talk about this all the time. Another like repetition of the same basic universal directive right now, that the old belief systems, the old structures, the old foundations, the old control systems and mechanisms, again, largely through belief and perception, are on their way out, are in a process of breakdown. But this water sign trine between the Sun and Saturn, I just want to kind of say it again and remind everyone, it's a very good week, very good period of time generally for any type of cleaning, getting rid of things like the purge for sure. This Scorpio season is here. But with the Sun and Saturn in trine, always this promotes an organizational ability, an aptitude for planning, strategizing, getting things in order generally. Also, focused work or effort put into things should go pretty well here. We have a lot of energy to persevere, overcome, solve problems, and focus ourselves like entirely on something in a way where we can figure things out and like actually create a solution, not just like a patch or, you know, a little quick band-aid. We're getting to the core. We're figuring out what is really causing like the disruption or the issue, and we are creating a solution with this. So again, if you find yourself going down some type of rabbit hole or just being like intensely focused on something, that is a favorable use of the energy right now. Getting engaged in some creative or productive quest or effort is favored right now as well. This is a good way to use this energy. Work on something this week with all of this powerful energy that is just like holding strong out there. Again, sort of like I said in the beginning, it reminds me of this like sound wave that's just going out and reverberating, and eventually it's going to trail out and stop being so powerful. But right now we're in like kind of just the initial gong strike, and it's just pretty intense as we move through the week, and especially on Thursday with that moon coming through as well. So Eye of the Storm energy, that's another way to kind of think about this. I talked about that in the last video. Not tons, again, of like back-to-back transits happening as we move through the week, but a fantastic week to use the power of your body or your mind to mold, form, structure, create, build, or work on something. That's where we want to use our energy this week. But as I mentioned earlier, a lot of people are just going to be overwhelmed by the emotional intensity, especially that last interaction between the moon and Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. Like, that's probably going to be intense, triggering a lot of like deep-seated issues. Okay, a lot of people are going to be losing control. That trine between the Sun and Saturn, with Saturn retrograde in Pisces, that's also energy that emotionally does not support us having sort of like the most self-discipline or the greatest ability to like ground and stabilize what our feelings and, you know, our expression of them. With the Mercury Jupiter mutual reception, that is also very like communicative. Okay, we can have a very big mouth when those energies are combined, so a lot of people could just really be like emoting, all right, in some maybe like unrestrained ways, losing control to an extent. because they're just unable to contain the energy and they don't know how to channel it properly. But we don't want to do this. We want to get caught up in something productive that is aligned with personal expansion, body, mind, and soul somehow so far. Another thing this week to kind of like be mindful of, especially, you know, as we hit the midpoint of the weekend moving forward, I'm going to talk about this in my next video, over idealizing. We've got a Venus-Neptune square that's building right now, coming off actually of a Venus-Jupiter opposition. This can lead to disappointment. Be careful over committing, over promising, you know, getting yourself overly involved in things that might look really good, especially, you know, maybe looked really good at the beginning of the week, because there's just a greater likelihood they're not going to translate into the original vision. They're going to fall short of the ideal or the expectation, lead to some type of disappointment. So there could be breakdowns happening in relationships and financial situations also as this energy comes in. It's not a super potent aspect, but just because of sort of the nature of everything right now, we are in some pretty potent energy. So everything is just kind of like geared up a little bit more. So be careful with over idealizing though. Investigate, research, open your mind, question everything. This is the time for that for sure. Look beyond, look within. You will come to find that there is much more to the story than perhaps you originally had conceived of. And that really is the entire point of these times that we are in right now. This is about awakening. We've been in a period of time that has been associated with the dream world and the projection and the illusion, and now we're moving into an archetypal energy that's associated with the awakening. So really these are two sort of very oppositional energies, and as a result, things are probably just gonna be like radical. I would say we're gonna go through some radical changes coming up here. And then the full moon actually that we've got coming up, the full moon in Taurus, is in a conjunction to Uranus as well. So we've got some dynamic change that it's making its way to us. In terms of symbolism associated with the placements of the planets that we have coming in midweek, we do have Mars at 2 degrees of the sign of Leo. That Sabian symbol is an epidemic of mumps. Whenever I see this symbol in play, it makes me think of things that are spreading quickly, maybe in kind of heated fashion, erupting out of nowhere, going on over this this midweek and this next couple of days. But that is also just kind of reflective. Again, we're in this very rebellious, like contentious, conflict-oriented energy with the Mars-Pluto opposition. So that symbolism is lending itself to that type of thing. So I kind of wanted to bring that up. But I also want to say we do have the North Node right now at 6 degrees of Aries. That Sabian symbol is a square brightly lighted on one side. Whenever we have this symbol going on, I always feel like it is indicating a solution, a way out, especially right now when we're talking about our exit from this Capricornian energy, which is about the square, which is about the box. Saturn, Capricorn, this contains, this limits, this walls things in, and it controls. And when the square is brightly lighted on one side, like that makes me think that we're like finding a solution, like we're seeing a way out. And so I really don't think, and that's the position of the destiny point right now. So no matter how critical perhaps things may seem at this period of time, there is a solution present. We just need to look at things again like from the right perspective, or orient our mind in such a way, or receive some type of messaging or information or something in order to like have our eye catch that little sparkle or glimmer up there and go towards the light or go towards the solution. The release again like is imminent at this point. So you guys, that's what I'm gonna say for today. Lots of course of things happening and going on out there. You may be experiencing things like this or along these lines in various scenarios that are playing out for you. As I always say, if you are, let me know in my comment section. I really appreciate when you guys let me know if you are having experiences that reflect what this energy is at least bringing up to me. Let's get into our tarot message for a minute now. I do want to say, you guys, we need to maintain the faith, okay? We have on the back of the deck the Five of Cups, the Five of Pentacles, the Eight of Cups, the Nine of Wands, the Sun in reverse. Before we get to the Temperance and the Star and the Judgment card, okay? And the Three of Wands right here. I know that's like a ton of cards that I just pulled out, but like the way that they were all stacked on each other just in this random shuffle, I feel like it's kind of relevant and also telling a story up against the energetic dynamic that we've also got playing out there. Things are not what they seem. And I know I say that all the time, but this is a process that is playing itself out. And sometimes we need to like often remind ourselves that things don't always happen overnight. And everything that is like truly worthy and of true value, it's not like aligned with instant manifestation. It's a process and it's an effort, and it can be like sometimes even like a colossal undertaking in order to bring that thing into fruition. But that is also what gives things value. And if it was simple, and if it was easy, and if it was instant, it wouldn't garner the same level of care. Like it wouldn't be meaningful because it would be easily replaceable. When you really, really, really have to like go through the trenches in order to achieve something, it means something. And I feel like that's kind of the lesson that's associated with these times right now as well, or at least kind of what this tarot message today is indicating. There could be emotional struggles, emotional hardships, feelings of being cast out or rejected, or like no matter what we do and how long we wait and how hard we work, nothing ever changes. And like we've been abandoned, or we've got to walk away from everything we love, or we have regrets, or we have lost and things that we can never get back and things that we wish we would have done different. And, you know, just all of these emotional burdens that we've been carrying and defining ourselves by. This energy is talking about, like, generally or this reading right here, how disempowered actually we're going to continue to be, and how we're never going to be able to like turn things around for ourselves, and to we have an opportunity right now to recreate ourselves. The more that we hold to the like reality of what we've lost, what we've had to move away from, what's not working, what's not happening, what's not coming to fruition, like all of our struggles, all of our victimhood, essentially, like the more we prioritize our victimhood and put it on a pedestal or define ourselves by it, the further away we are pushing what is trying to make its way to us right now in terms of this dust and faded energy that is kind of being activated. You know, all of this, what I said this next 20 years is going to bring, and getting on this path to self-actualization and like soul fulfillment on this greater level. We may feel really disempowered right now. We may feel like nothing's working out. We may have a lot of nightmares about what's going to happen, feel like the weight of the world is on our shoulders, not know if we're ever going to be able to like move on or move forward somehow. I don't know. With both the Magician and the High Priestess in reverse, though, it does make me feel like feeling like our power's been stripped from us, or feeling, again, just like out of control, like we don't have the tools, we don't have the resources. But this is about having to go through like that dark night of the soul, you know, having to pull it out of you through trial and error, through losing until we figure out how to win so that we can actually become a great champion. This is about, you know, the hard knocks, going through the valley of the shadow of death, you know what I mean, to get to the other side, to realize that nothing can truly defeat us. So I don't know, that was a really like long-winded tarot message. This was a kind of obscure reading that came out today, but that just seems to be like the way, or at least that's the way the message was making itself known to me. So that's what I feel like it's saying. I feel like it's saying that we can't take surface appearances right now and attach ourselves to what perhaps is not as we wish it was. We need to keep moving forward, growing, developing, discovering, learning, maturing, and preparing ourselves, like making ourselves into the person that is in alignment with the opportunity or the life or the version of ourselves that we find ourselves stepping into now. So that's what I'm going to say about the tarot, you guys. We're going to get one more message. God, Spirit, Universe. We need a synchronicity card, please. What is one piece of guidance or advice that we can use to benefit us as we move through this next couple of days, this week, close this week out, and begin to head into next week also, which is going to be another big week. I talked about that a little bit in my video. We got a lot happening again next week. And our message here, you guys, is don't envy another, which is another thing that I feel like is some really, really good advice right now. This is also something that we could be struggling with, getting really triggered over other people and issues to do with possessiveness and stuff like that, with the moon coming into a conjunction with Pluto. So don't envy another. Our advice for the middle of our week this week: let your conduct be without covetousness, Hebrews 13:5. Remember, you cannot have that which belongs to another. Instead, wish for something very much like what the other has, but never the very thing. For the time being, be content with what you have. Perhaps things are not as they appear. And that's exactly what I've been saying. I feel like right now, things are generally not as they appear. Over this next 20 years, I think we're going to come to find out just maybe how much that was the case during this particular period of time. But our guidance for the week is to focus, you know, on what we have going on, what we're going to have going on, what we want to have going on, and less on comparing ourselves to other people and situations and stuff like that. So don't envy another, you guys. That's our guidance from the stars, guidance from the cards. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, you guys. As I was saying earlier, leave me comments. I am so grateful for your contributions to my channel when you let me know what's going on with you guys out there. Thank you so much for that. Share it with your friends if you think they would be interested in this type of astrology content as well. And come back with me on Friday, you guys. We're gonna have more astrology to get into as we close out this week. Venus squaring Neptune, we need to talk about that. I will be here to do it. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it. I will see you next time. You guys have a beautiful midweek, and until then, bye.